The helicopter rotors cut through the humid Southeast Asian night like a blade, depositing a platoon of American soldiers into the dense, foreboding jungles north of the DMZ, where the echoes of war blended with the alien sounds of the wild. As their boots sank into the mud, the point man suddenly froze, raising a trembling fist and signaling the others to take a knee, his hand slicing across his throat in a silent warning. And ahead, barely visible through the thick tangle of vines and foliage, moved four figures in single file, their motions so unnaturally silent that even the undergrowth did not protest their passing. And as moonlight trickled through the canopy, it revealed the impossible. These figures were bald, almost 7 feet tall, and their skin shimmered like scaled snake skin, reflecting a pale, eerie glow as if the jungle itself had baptized them in light, while the soldiers, hearts hammering, could see no weapons or insignia, only the smooth reptilian flesh that seemed to ripple with each step. And as silently as they appeared, the beings vanished into the jungle, leaving the men staring in frozen disbelief, unable to reconcile the logic of enemy soldiers with the undeniable evidence of something else entirely. And though the patrol continued, their minds were forever haunted by the memory of glowing eyes and the smooth, scaly skin that defied every known natural law. A reminder that even in the familiar horrors of war, the unknown lurked silently just beyond. The tree-line. Before dawn broke over the jungle canopy, a 2-boat patrol of 8 American soldiers navigated the murky river north of the DMZ, their mission to hunt hidden enemy caches blending with the natural dangers of Southeast Asia, where the air buzzed with mosquitoes, the undergrowth hid venomous snakes, and a constant drip of water from leaves echoed like whispers of unseen predators. The soldiers had been warned to treat any movement at night as hostile, and under the dim lanterns of their small crafts, their rifles remained poised for instant action, scanning the shadowed riverbanks as mist clung to the water like a spectral veil. But what they encountered was far from human, far from anything they were trained to confront. For in a clearing up ahead, the jungle fell unnaturally silent, as if the night itself had been cauterized of life, and from the darkened tree line emerged massive humanoid beings, at least 7 or 8 feet tall, their skin a bright, almost phosphorescent yellow, their faces flat and terrifyingly reptilian, snake-like eyes glinting with uncanny intelligence, hands and feet ending in sharp claws capable of tearing through wood or bone. Yet rather than attacking, these creatures moved with deliberate curiosity, passing mere feet from the patrol as though the humans were invisible, their hulking forms reflecting the rising sun's early light in shimmering scales that seemed to ripple like liquid gold. Panic gripped the soldiers as the entities vanished into the dense brush, only to reappear moments later, following them silently, their every step echoing through the swampy ground in a surreal cadence that made the men's hearts pound and fingers tighten on cold metal triggers. Bullets fired blindly, bouncing harmlessly off the creature's hardened hides as though striking a wall of living armor, forcing the terrified soldiers to flee toward their boats, leaping aboard and throttling engines just in time to witness dozens of these massive humanoids lining the riverbank, their glowing bodies casting an otherworldly luminescence across the morning fog, an army of impossible beings observing the intruders with an intelligence that seemed both alien and calculating, leaving the soldiers questioning reality, their training rendered useless in the face of something entirely unknown. And even as the patrol retreated down the river, the haunting image of those scaly giants remained etched in their minds, a living testament that the jungles of Quang Binh harbored secrets far beyond maps, reconnaissance, or the reach of human understanding, where the veil between the natural and the supernatural thinned, and the line between predator and prey blurred into an existential terror. A reminder that in the dense, uncharted heart of Vietnam, the soldiers were no longer just fighting the Viet Song, the treacherous terrain, or the insects and snakes, but the shadowy remnants of a primeval world that had survived, unnoticed, alongside mankind. A world where the impossible lived silently, watching, waiting, and perhaps judging those who dare trespass into its domain. A jungle alive with secrets older than war itself, whispering that even the bravest men could be humbled by forces beyond comprehension. In 1970, deep in the rugged jungles about 30 miles south of the DMZ, a U.S. Army corporal led a squad through steep, uncharted valleys, their mission routine by military standards, but teeming with unseen danger. And as they navigated the dense undergrowth, the soldiers noticed strange patterns in the landscape. Massive boulders stacked unnaturally, as though arranged by deliberate hands, and a narrow, smooth-edged cave entrance cut into the hillside, roughly 5 feet high and 3 feet wide, tapering at the top, with groove along its edges suggesting some primitive or alien machinery had carved it. A putrid stench of decay wafted out, the air thick with the rank odor of rotting eggs and the faint, unmistakable trace of human decomposition, forcing some men to recoil. Yet the corporal, flashlight in hand, pressed forward with his squad concealed in heavy brush about 150 feet from the entrance, straining their eyes against a haze that made even moonlight seem murky, until movement stirred in the cave's threshold and the impossible emerged. 7-foot-tall lizard-like beings with dark, scaly, almost black skin, upright humanoid forms cloaked in dark green robes, flat snake-like faces with piercing, forward-set eyes, and long, hissing tongues flicking in anticipation, standing as if guarding something ancient and unknowable, the air vibrating with the sound of their hellish hisses. Instinctively, every man opened fire, the jungle erupting in a storm of rifle fire, tearing apart vegetation between them and the cave. Yet the creatures vanished as suddenly as they appeared, leaving only silence and a lingering sense of dread. And as dawn approached, the squad cautiously approached the cave, setting charges to seal the entrance, knowing that the beings had escaped into its darkness, perhaps to realms below the surface of the earth. While each soldier struggled to reconcile the logic of their training with the undeniable evidence before them, their minds wrestling with fear, curiosity, and the impossible idea that life could exist in forms wholly separate from humanity, yet intelligent, aware, and perhaps even ancient, and though no report would ever be filed, bureaucracy, disbelief, and fear preventing any official record. The experience left an indelible mark on every man, a haunting memory of the jungle that refused to remain confined to maps, of creatures that had survived centuries beyond human comprehension, of a world hidden in shadow where soldiers were merely visitors, intruding on a domain that did not belong to them, a subterranean wilderness alive with secrets, echoing the notion that war might have awakened something older than the conflict itself, a reminder that for all the soldiers knew, the jungles, caves, and mountains of Quang Binh might conceal more than enemy soldiers or dangerous animals. They might guard a living, breathing history of an entirely alien life, watching humanity from the shadows with patience, intelligence, and perhaps indifference to the fleeting struggles of men caught in a war not of their choosing. In December 1990, decades after the jungles had been scarred by war, Ho Khan, a Vietnamese logger from the rural hills of Quang Binh, set out into the dense forest in search of agarwood, the rare, fragrant wood used for incense and herbal medicine. And after hours of trekking through the thick, humid undergrowth, a sudden torrential downpour forced him to seek shelter, leading him to an enormous limestone cliff where a massive cave entrance yawned before him, the roar of a hidden river echoing from within while clouds of mist spilled out like smoke from the mountain itself. And as he cautiously stepped into the shadowed mouth of the cavern, he felt the chill of air untouched by the sun and sensed a strange, almost palpable presence, a weight in the darkness that pressed on his instincts as though warning him away. Yet curiosity drove him forward, exploring deeper into the immense chamber that stretched for kilometers, its walls towering over 200 meters high, sunlight filtering through rare fissures to reveal a jungle thriving inside, complete with flora, rare primates, and the occasional distant glint of predator eyes, a hidden ecosystem untouched by humans. And then, As Ho Khan navigated the labyrinthine tunnels, he glimpsed it, a humanoid figure, impossibly tall and upright, its body covered in dark, glistening scales that caught the faint light like molten metal, its head elongated, with a face resembling a dragon, eyes glowing with intelligent awareness. Observing him with cautious curiosity, and in a reflexive moment, Ho Khan raised his Polaroid camera to photograph a distant, shadowed passage, only to capture, around a bend, a partially concealed figure whose reptilian features were briefly illuminated by the camera's flash. A being that seemed aware of his intrusion, yet made no aggressive move, its presence alone igniting a chill of primal fear in his chest, leaving him to wonder whether he had stumbled upon creatures that had survived war, time, and human encroachment, thriving in the heart of a subterranean world that seemed to exist outside the rules of ordinary life. And, as he retreated, the sounds of the hidden river and the echo of movement in the darkness reminded him that these creatures were not idle observers, but part of an ancient ecosystem, intelligent and perfectly adapted to the shadowed cave jungles, leaving him with the uneasy knowledge that the forests and caves of Quang been held secrets deeper and stranger than any human had documented, and that the brief glimpse he had caught on film might be the only evidence of a species that lived hidden from the world, a species whose very existence challenged every assumption about life on Earth, and whose silent observation suggested that while mankind had waged war above ground, something older, enduring, and alien had watched from below, continuing its existence in realms where humans were only accidental intruders, and perhaps would remain forever unseen, except by those like Ho Khan, daring enough to step into the hidden, echoing darkness of the Sundong Cave. The jungles of Quang Binh, scarred by decades of war, yet teeming with life both seen and unseen, seemed to hold a continuity of secrets that spanned generations. From the American soldiers patrolling treacherous rivers and valleys in the 1970s to Ho Khan silently navigating the hidden chambers of Sundong Cave in 1990, and though decades and cultures separated them, the echoes of their experiences converged in the form of the same enigmatic, humanoid reptiles, their towering, scaly forms, described with remarkable consistency, bioluminescent or vividly colored skin, snake-like eyes, and movements that defied human expectation. And these creatures, whether encountered under moonlight in dense jungle, along fog-laden riverbanks, or within cavernous subterranean realms, demonstrated a pattern of awareness and intelligence that suggested deliberate observation, almost as if they were monitoring the intrusion of humans into their domain. And yet their behavior was selective, sometimes curious, sometimes indifferent, rarely aggressive, implying a species evolved to survive in isolation, hidden from the prying eyes of mankind, with a keen adaptation to darkness, whether beneath the jungle canopy or deep underground in cave systems, their physiology hinting at nocturnal predation, advanced senses, and perhaps even social structures imperceptible to human observers. Veterans of these encounters reported the surreal experience of bullets bouncing harmlessly off the creatures. Armored hides, their height and form distorting natural proportions, leaving soldiers grappling with fear, awe, and disbelief, while local folklore, pieced together from villagers and loggers like Ho Khan, hinted at the persistence of these beings across centuries, guardians of lost ecosystems and uncharted caves. And though outside observers like paranormal researchers and television crews attempted to document these phenomena, the truth remained elusive, filtered through layers of anecdote, media, and skepticism. And yet the convergence of multiple credible eyewitness accounts, veterans of the Vietnam War, local villagers, and cave explorers, revealed patterns too consistent to dismiss outright, a haunting suggestion that these creatures, whatever their origin, had endured human conflict, climate, and geological upheaval, thriving quietly in the shadows. A reminder that even the most isolated corners of the Earth could harbor life forms entirely outside the known taxonomy, and that the jungles, rivers, and subterranean passages of Southeast Asia were not merely landscapes for human history, but arenas in which the ancient and modern collided, where soldiers, loggers, and explorers inadvertently crossed paths with life that challenged the very definition of humanity, leaving those who encountered it forever changed, carrying the knowledge that the world was vaster, stranger, and more dangerous than any map, guide, or military briefing could convey, and that in the darkness, above or below the earth, unseen eyes might still be watching, patient, intelligent, and utterly indifferent to the fleeting struggles of mankind, a testament to the persistence of nature's most enigmatic and intelligent secrets, silently shaping the narrative of history without ever revealing its full truth. As the sun rose over the mountains and jungles of Quang Binh, the echoes of war and the whispers of the unknown intertwined in a tapestry of fear, awe, and lingering mystery. For the American soldiers who had patrolled rivers and valleys in the early 1970s, the images of towering, glowing, reptilian humanoids were forever seared into memory. A reminder that the war they fought was not only against human enemies, but also against the impossible, the unexplained, and the ancient guardians of a hidden world. While decades later, Ho Khan's solitary journey into the Sundong Cave had revealed an ecosystem that defied logic, where rivers roared beneath massive stalagmites, sunlight filtered through ceiling fissures to illuminate thriving jungles and rare creatures, and humanoid lizard-like beings, intelligent and alert, observed silently from the shadows, unbothered yet fully aware of human intrusion. The convergence of these encounters suggested a species perfectly adapted to the darkness, to the vast, unexplored reaches of Southeast Asia, and to the interruptions of human violence. Their resilience and intelligence hinting at a life form coexisting with humanity, yet operating on an entirely different scale of perception and survival. And though some researchers attempted to document the phenomenon, from coast-to-coast radio broadcasts by Art Bell covering veteran testimonies to modern paranormal investigations, the truth remained frustratingly elusive, obscured by bureaucratic silence, cultural misunderstanding, and the natural cunning of beings who had existed long before humans mapped the land. While the landscape itself, scarred by bombing, herbicides, and decades of human activity, seemed only to temporarily expose these creatures, bringing them into fleeting contact with soldiers and loggers before retreating them once again to the depths of forests, rivers, and caves where time and nature had rendered them nearly invisible. The patterns of these encounters: nighttime patrols, early morning sightings near caves, the creatures' towering forms, scaly skin, bioluminescence, and selective awareness, hinted at not randomness but strategy, a deliberate, almost intelligent observation of humanity, an ancient species that had quietly survived wars, natural disasters, and human expansion, and perhaps even evolved in parallel, thriving in niches hidden from conventional exploration. And as veterans recounted their experiences, some with tremors of disbelief, still lingering in their voices, and as Ho Khan silently reflected on the creatures glimpsed within Sundong Cave, the realization dawned that the jungles, rivers, and caves of Quang Binh were not simply landscapes of conflict or natural beauty, but arenas for a hidden war, one fought in shadows, unseen and unrecorded, where mankind's understanding of life was incomplete and fragile, and the creatures, patient and enduring, remained the ultimate arbiters of their domain, a living testament that the Earth, even in the age of technology and exploration, still harbored mysteries beyond comprehension, and that sometimes, only through the chaos of human conflict, through the intrusion of soldiers and the curiosity of explorers, did the veil briefly lift to reveal the astonishing, terrifying, and awe-inspiring truth that the world was far stranger, older, and more alive than any map, story, or memory could contain, leaving those who survived the encounters with the haunting knowledge that the war may have ended above ground, but in the shadows of the jungle, rivers, and hidden caves, a far older war was still being fought silently, patiently, and with the eerie, unyielding patience of creatures who had always been there.